Good evening. Tonight, I invite you to settle into stillness. Allow your shoulders to soften. Let your jaw relax. Feel the gentle support beneath you. And as the day drifts away like clouds across a twilight sky, let us travel together to a small cottage where something impossible is about to bloom. There once lived a woman in a quiet cottage at the edge of a meadow. The cottage was small but beautiful. Wild roses climbed its walls. Lavender grew beneath the windows. And every morning, birds gathered on the roof to sing the day awake. Yet, despite all the beauty around her, the woman carried a quiet sadness. She lived alone. More than anything in the world, she wished for a child. Not riches, not fame, not grand gestures or adventures. Only a little one to love. So whenever she sat by her window in the evenings, she would watch families walking along distant paths and wonder what it might feel like to hold a small hand in her own. One spring morning, while visiting the village market, she met an old woman with kind eyes. The old woman listened carefully as the woman spoke of her wish. When she finished, the old woman reached into her pocket and placed a single barleycorn into her hand. It looked ordinary, small, golden, simple. Yet it felt strangely warm. "Plant this carefully," said the old woman. "Give it sunlight, patience, and hope." The woman thanked her and returned home. That very afternoon, she found her prettiest terracotta flower pot. She filled it with rich dark soil gathered from the garden. Then, very gently, she planted the tiny barleycorn. She placed the pot beside her favourite window, where golden morning sunlight streamed through every day. And then she waited. The days passed slowly. Spring rain tapped softly against the glass. The wind whispered through the garden. Birds built nests beneath the eaves. Every morning, the woman would check the pot again. Every evening, she checked again. Nothing happened. Yet, she continued waiting. Because some of the most beautiful things in life take time. Then one morning, just as the sun was rising, she noticed a tiny green shoot pushing through the soil. Her heart leapt. Each day it grew taller, stronger, greener. But something was unusual. It wasn't becoming a barley plant at all. Instead, it grew into a single beautiful flower. Its stem was graceful, Its leaves shimmered with a deep emerald glow, and at the top sat a blossom unlike anything the woman had ever seen before. It looked like a tulip, yet somehow more magical. The petals glowed with soft shades of pink, gold and cream, as though sunrise itself had settled inside them. The woman stared in wonder. Every day the flower grew more beautiful, until one perfect morning, something extraordinary happened. The first rays of sunlight touched the flower. Slowly, very slowly, the petals began to open. The woman leaned closer. Her breath caught, and there, resting inside the blossom, was a tiny sleeping girl, no larger than the woman's thumb. The little girl's golden hair curled around her like silk. Her tiny hands rested beneath her cheek. Her breathing was soft and peaceful. She looked as though she had been sleeping inside the flower forever. The woman could hardly believe her eyes. For a moment, she simply stood there, smiling, laughing, crying, all at the same time. "At last," she whispered. "Welcome, little one." The tiny girl opened her eyes and smiled. The woman's heart felt so full she thought it might burst. She had finally received the gift she had wished for, and she decided at once that the little girl's name would be Thumbelina, because she was no longer or even bigger than her thumb. Life in the cottage changed from day forward. Every morning, Thumbelina explored her tiny world. The woman made her beautiful clothes from flower petals and soft scraps of cloth. She fashioned tiny shoes from rose leaves, and she created little toys from acorns and pine cones. Everything in the cottage seemed enormous to Thumbelina. A teacup looked like a bathtub. A loaf of bread looked like a hill. A spoon seemed as large as a rowing boat. Yet Thumbelina loved every corner of her world. She would sit on the windowsill, watching butterflies drift through the garden. She would listen to bees humming among the flowers. And sometimes she would sing little songs so sweet that even the birds outside paused to listen. The woman loved hearing those songs. The cottage had always been peaceful, but now it felt alive, filled with laughter, filled with joy, and filled with wonder. When evening arrived, Thumbelina's bedtime ritual began. The woman had prepared the most beautiful bedtime imaginable. A polished walnut shell, smooth and curved. perfect size for a tiny girl. Inside she placed soft violet petals gathered from the garden. These became Thumbelina's mattresses. A delicate rose petal served as her blanket, and a tiny flower bud became pillow. Each night Thumbelina climbed into her walnut shell bed. The woman would light a candle. The fire would crackle softly in the hearth. Outside, crickets sang beneath the stars. The scent of lavender drifted through the open window. Thumbelina would curl beneath her rose petal blanket and gaze up at the warm glow of the room. She felt safe. She felt loved. She felt exactly where she belonged. And before long, her eyes would grow heavy. The sounds of the cottage would blur into a gentle lullaby. The flickering candlelight would dance softly across the walls, and sleep would carry her away. As the seasons moved gently forward, Thumbelina and the woman became inseparable. They spent sunny afternoons among the flowers. They listened to birds. They watched clouds drift lazily across the sky. And every evening, they returned home together as golden sunset light spilled across the meadow. Neither knew what adventures the future might bring. Neither knew that beyond the garden lay ponds, forests, swallows, mice, and distant kingdoms waiting to be discovered. For now, there was only peace, only warmth, only home, and sometimes that is enough. So tonight, as you settle deeper into rest, imagine that little cottage, the warm glow of candlelight, the scent of flowers drifting through an open window, the soft crackle of the fire, and a tiny walnut shell bed resting safely beside the hearth. Thumbelina is asleep. The garden is quiet. The stars shine overhead. And the flower that once held a miracle sways gently beneath the moonlight. There is nowhere to hurry, nothing to fix, nothing to worry about. Only rest, only stillness, only sleep. Good night.